Well, it is exactly at the top of the hour. Welcome to our broadcast. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, the sign language interpreter. I'll be telling you in just a few, but we're keeping an eye on various stories that are currently progressing in various parts of the country, including the current event that was held at State House Nairobi and many other events that are currently happening, including the Jukwaa la Usalama, where our very own Giverson Mine is following on that particular story. As and when we get that particular feed, we'll be airing them to you. But we start off where the government has reaffirmed its commitment to comprehensive prison reforms with a focus on modernization, rehabilitation and reintegration. Interior and National Administration Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who spoke during a fundraising dinner to modernize prisons, termed the move as critical in a rehabilitation of inmates.
Deka campaign dinner in Nairobi, Interior CS Kipchumba Murkomen said the reforms are anchored on a rights-based approach aimed at creating a more just and equal society.
There is an attitude, still a strong attitude out there, that the conditions must be as difficult, impossible for those who go to prison, and that we really need to move the people with the changing times and with the constitutional process. This administration is going to build 28,000 houses for prison officers.
The CS lauded the campaign championed by Correctional Services PS Dr. Salome Biako as a significant boost to prison reform efforts.
There can be no better society if we do not have institutions that can help us correct those who go wayward in society in such a manner that when they come back, people can see that they have become different people.
The initiative, according to the PS, seeks to equip all male prisons with triple-decker beds to ease congestion and restore dignity to inmates.
Your support goes beyond kindness. It stands as a strategic investment in safer communities, institutional strength, and restored dignity.
Other stakeholders emphasize better living conditions, saying the move will aid rehabilitation.
To take care of our prisoners, to take care of people stay on the fringes of lives in our midst, is also to take care of God's presence in our midst, because in them is the image and likeness of God himself.
The fundraiser is part of ongoing efforts by the State Department for Correctional Services to transform prisons into centers of hope, healing and reintegration.
And in other news, the management of the Super Metro Sacco has condemned the torching of one of the 33-seater bus on Monday evening by Boda Boda riders near Juja City Mall along Thika Superhighway. The outrage followed a fatal accident that claimed the life of a Boda Boda rider. However, eyewitnesses and police reports indicate that the motorcyclist lost control after colliding with a tuk-tuk. The Sacco has termed the torching incident a criminal act, even as authorities move in to investigate and pursue those behind the violence.
Happened that the matatu and the motorcycle were ending towards same direction, that is towards Thika, and both were using the service lane. So it's alleged that the rider lost control and fell down, whereby he was overrun by the matatu and died on the spot.
We are calling upon the law enforcers to do due diligence and make sure that all those people who are involved in banning that vehicle are taken to court.
On education matters now, a section of public school students risk missing national examinations after delays in the release of capitation fund. Gilgil MP Martha Wangari says the failure to fully disperse capitation fees as schools entered the third term has forced some public school administrations to send students home just weeks before the commencement the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education KCSE examinations.
Gilgil Member of Parliament Martha Wangari says poor planning by the relevant authorities would lock out thousands of students in the national exams, noting that many schools have not yet received part of their first term capitation allocations.
Sisi kama isipokuwa ni CDF na labda county government kidogo, hizi shule ambazo unaona za day school zingekuwa zimefungwa. Last time pesa haikufika, na hata saa hii tunaambia Ministry ya Education na Ministry ya Treasury, kabla mtoe kitu ingine yoyote, pesa ya shule iende kwa mashule.
This follow reports that some unregistered schools across the country have illegally received millions of shillings in government funds, a development that MP says further strains already limited resources for public institutions.
Mtoto wa 12 years mbona anafukuzwa shule? Nafikiri mahali tumefika, mambo ya capitation very important. Sababu tumeona hata kuna wafisadi kule kwa ministry. Pesa inatumwa sijui wapi ambako hakuna shule, ilhali wale genuine students wamengoja pesa.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the Makueni County Secondary School Principals Association, Dr. Johnson Divo, says the delayed payments have significantly disrupted school operations.
Huu mula ni mfupi sana, na tukiwa hatuna pesa hatutaweza kufanya hayo mambo. Ya pili, serikali ilituahidi Ijumaa iliyopita, na ilikuwa kwa kila gazeti ya Kenya, pesa zitakuwa kwa accounts.
Education stakeholders are calling for an urgent release of withheld funds and tighter controls to prevent diversion of capitation to unregistered institutions. Mchuma Odim, Lunchtime News.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba has challenged Kenyan youth to embrace innovation and technical skills as tools for solving Africa's toughest challenges. Speaking at the Africa Tech Challenge Awards ceremony in Nairobi, Ogamba said the future of the work belongs to young people who are ready to think, create and build solutions rather than wait for opportunities. We'll be sharing that particular story in just a few, but let's take a look at what is happening in the world of politics. Now, in a strong show of unity, government officials are rallying behind President William Ruto's call for a concerted effort in the fight against corruption. The Principal Secretary for the Correctional Services, Dr. Salome Biako, says the government's newly adopted e-procurement system will play a key role in sealing loopholes often exploited in tendering.
Speaking at Gatitu Catholic Church in Gatundu South, Principal Secretary for Correctional Services Dr. Biako noted that corruption has for years thrived at the procurement stage with inflated costs and questionable awards of contracts.
Memshikilia rais katika kupigana na ufisadi. Juzi tulianzisha hii program ya e-procurement na zero fault audit, na unaona sisi wote katika the state departments mojawapo ambayo mimi nimeshikilia, sisi tume already we have complied na hiyo e-procurement program na haturudi nyuma.
She said the e-procurement system will ensure great transparency and accountability, making it difficult for officials to manipulate government tenders. Dr. Biako emphasized that fighting corruption and empowering the youth are critical to building a stronger and more prosperous Kenya. Elsewhere, political cracks are widening within the ruling UDA party in Machakos County, with Matungulu Eastward Representative Julius Munyoki claiming there is deliberate plot to edge him out of the party, citing infighting and dirty politics.
Sisi tuko kwa chama, kwangu hakuna maji, isipokuwa hii stadium ya Kinyui inajengwa. Nimeitisha vitu, nimeenda kwa NYS, nimeandika barua, nipatiwe equipment, mumeenda mmesimamisha. Nimeenda kwa REA, nipatiwe last mile electricity, kumeenda kusimama, from 2023 imesimamishwa. Mnataka nifanye nini? Mnataka nibebe watu wangu na mgongo ama mnataka nifanye nini? This is what is worrying me a lot. Hata afadhali ningesimama nikiwa independent. Singekuwa na lawama na watu, sababu watu wangu na wale nimesimamia wamekasirika sana.
Munyoki accused fellow party members of targeting him over his cooperation with Governor Wavinya Ndeti on development matters.
Now to a rather tragic turn of events where the death of a 17-year-old boy allegedly tortured to death over claims of stealing 2 pairs of trousers at the Ramana village in Nyandarua County has sparked protest. Business was at a standstill as irate residents marched to the Miragian police station to demand the speedy probe and arrest of the culprits. The residents are accusing the police of dragging their feet in investigating the incident and arresting the said culprits. This comes as 2 suspects are in custody as investigations continue.
The irate locals took to the streets in a peaceful march headed towards Mirangini police station. This protest coming after 17-year-old Samson Kahuria breathed his last after allegedly being tortured for stealing 2 pairs of trousers.
Hakuna siku hata mmoja nisikia ate kijana yangu ameiba mahali ama amepigana na mtu, ni kijana mtulivu.
Walimuua bure. Huyo sio mwizi. Huyo anajifanyia kazi na mikono yake miwili tukiwa na yeye. Kila siku tunafanya kazi na yeye. Walimuua bure.
The residents are accusing security agencies of laxity in bringing the perpetrators to book.
Anaweza uawa na serikali na watu wanyamaze bila ya kufanya chochote.
Haya ni mtoto yangu ama ni mtoto ya mtu mwingine. Na ndio tunasema tutajitolea. Tutafanya kila juhudi mpaka dakika ya mwisho tutahakikisha haki imetendeka.
With 2 persons already behind bars, police are calling for patience in concluding investigations. Additionally, residents want police to deal with a criminal gang they say is known as B13, accusing the gang of operating with impunity and causing them sleepless nights. Separately, police in Busia town have begun investigations into an incident in which a first-year orthopedic trauma medicine student at KMTC Busia was found dead in his rental room with a rope hanging around his neck. According to the school principal, the deceased was last seen by neighbors when he returned to the house from holiday recess.
Hiyo ndo mwisho mwenye nimemuona. Nilikuwa nimeenda kununua vitu, kurudi napigiwa simu ya kufa.
So we really need to inform the police to help us know exactly what may have transpired. We are not sure of what transpired.
Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
More than 156 primary school teachers from Nairobi County have protested the move by the Kenya Teachers Service to transfer them to Kitui County just few months to their retirement. The teachers who were recently promoted accused TSC of ignoring government's policy on delocalization. The teachers now argue that TSC rescind the decision and revoke the transfers. Led by the Nairobi NAT branch executive secretary Macharia Mugwe, the teachers further claim their employer has already advertised another round of promotion, knowing well that there is no vacancy in Nairobi County.
Kuna wengine wamepata hizo barua za kwenda delocalization Kitui, wengine wamepata barua za retirement, wengine wamebakisha miezi mitatu, kuna wengine wanaenda Januari. Na mkiangalia huo umri uko hapa, au wote vile mnajua miili ya binadamu ukifikisha 50, 55, 58 na wengi wao hapa wako 58, mwili inaanza kusumbua.
Our only concern is when they promote teachers after stagnating for over 10 years, and instead of giving them promotion letters, they put a condition: you must go to Kitui. When you go to the TSC, we are having brokers there. They ask teachers money. Yes. If they want to come back to Nairobi, they have to give them money. Yes. And already we have been giving report, and nothing happens. Solidarity! Power! Solidarity! No Solidarity!
Elsewhere, Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migoso Gamba has challenged Kenyan youth to embrace innovation and technical skills as tools for solving Africa's toughest challenges. Speaking at the Africa Tech Challenge Award ceremony in Nairobi, Ogamba said the future of work belongs to young people who are ready to think, create and build solutions rather than wait for opportunities.
Nairobi played host to some of the continent's sharpest young minds as 52 finalists from 12 African countries walked into the spotlight at the Africa Tech Challenge Season 10 Grand Finale.
Put your hands together one time for these amazing winners.
For weeks, they trained, tested and competed from engineering design to mobile app development. For Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migoso Gamba, the message was clear. Kenya and Africa must invest in young people, equipping them not only with certificates, but with practical skills to solve real-world problems.
Go beyond competing. Be innovators, solution creators, and mentors for those who will follow. Do not wait for opportunities, but create them. Do not limit your dreams, expand them. Africa is counting on you.
But Ogamba was not the only one calling for change.
As Africa, we must rise with finesse, skill, and innovation to meet the demands for the skilled workforce globally. And we have the absolute opportunity.
This training will impact their lives directly, but it will impact their families, it will impact their communities, it will impact their countries. That is what investment means, and that is what sustainable development actually means.
The challenge itself tested students on innovation, coding, robotics, and design, drawing participation from across Africa. The winners will not only take home trophies, but also opportunities, from scholarships in China to world-class technical training for the upcoming World Skills Competition.
For our final competition, we had just 2 hours to do 3 drawings. It was a bit challenging, but I'm glad I was able to do all the questions on time and submit my answers correctly.
Through AVIC International, over 189 vocational institutions have been built or upgraded across Africa, training more than 20,000 youth annually.
China stands ready to continue sharing expertise, supplying resources, and facilitating educational exchanges that will enable African nations to better leverage their demographic advantages.
Ben Chumba, Lunchtime News.
Residents of Matisi Ward in Kitale are calling on the area security apparatus to come to their aid after reports of criminal invasions in their neighborhood. The residents say the upsurge in criminal activities in the area is a threat to normalcy and smooth business operation. They are further urging the security teams to be swift in response and not turn a blind eye to their request.
Watu wameumizwa, biashara zimeporwa, wengine wako hospitalini. Sasa mimi nauliza serikali, ni sisi wenyewe tujitokeze tujilinde ama?
Wanatembea na mipindi, panga na silaha zingine butu. Wakwenda kwa barabara wanakupiga, wanakunyang'anya simu zako, wanakunyang'anya pesa, hata kama una shopping kidogo unanyang'anywa.
To a developing story in the northeastern part of the country, where a section of members of parliament now say the Defence Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya will be expected to answer to the Defence Committee on the presence of Jubaland forces in Mandera County. The MPs who spoke in Gatundu North, Kiambu County during a meeting with Nyumba Kumi officials and clerics, however, called on the residents to stay calm. The legislators lauded the Nyumba Kumi officials as vital peace and security enablers who play a crucial role in linking communities with the security agencies.
Kama mtu mkaaji wa kawaida anajua, nina uhakika serikali inajua ya kwamba watu wa military wa Jubaland wako saidi ya Mandera. Kwa hivyo tutagojea waziri akuje na ndio waweze kufafanua kinaga ubaga exactly what is happening in Mandela.
Climate scientists now want government to invest in early warning and early action in order to reduce vulnerabilities during climate hazards. The Kenya Meteorological Department Director Edward Muriuki says that weather forecasting is now more accurate, hence the need for targeted responses in order to reduce vulnerabilities. UN Disaster Risk Reduction Deputy Chief Regional Office for Africa, that is Hugh Bainan, noted that there is need to invest in people-centered and locally led climate action in order to increase resilience to climatic impacts. The climate scientists drawn from across the globe were speaking during the three-day conference of the 11th National Climate Outlook Forum and Action Planning Process from October to November-December 2025, a short rain season in Nairobi County.
Improvement in this, and the department and our stakeholders and county directors are also making every effort to ensure that our information gets to the lowest point. We also try and use a language that is understandable, because previously we were being accused of speaking to ourselves.
What we have to remember is that the science of forecast is a probabilistic science. It changes as we get closer to the period, as we get more information, more data. So when the Kenya Met speaks, whether it is today or when they speak it on Friday, it does not mean that information is cast on stone.
From the crisis response, we are going towards anticipatory action, and this is the most important, and this is why this platform is so important, because all the different stakeholders are involved in order to have a feedback on the two recent seasons, as the directors say.
The warning systems must be designed with people in mind and delivered together with communities. That's I think 4 areas that we can focus on to really strengthen the usage and the uptake and the relevance of what's coming out of this meeting today.
On the health front, more than 27,000 healthcare workers in Kakamega, Siaya, Nakuru and Mombasa counties are set to benefit from a vaccination campaign against influenza in phase 2 of the pilot program. The exercise, which has been launched in Kakamega County, will run until the 19th of September 2025 and targets doctors, nurses, clinical officers and subordinate staff in proximity to patients. According to Kakamega County Chief Officer in charge of medical services, David Alila, the vaccination is aimed at controlling the possible spread of the influenza virus from healthcare workers to patients and vice versa. Influenza is a viral infection that affects the respiratory system.
Vaccination, and the vaccine is safe, and we're encouraging all the health workers to come for this vaccination. I think last time when vaccination was there, they achieved around 86%, and we are working very hard so that this time we have 100% vaccination.
I am encouraging all our health workers from the community level to be vaccinated because most of the time we are the first contacts with our clients, with our patients. We want to prevent infection from the healthcare provider or infection from the client to the healthcare provider.
There are some groups or persons who tend to have severe disease, who are likely to get severe disease. They can even get hospitalized and sometimes can die. These include pregnant women, children below 5 years, or even the elderly above 65 years, and people who have chronic illnesses.
Learning in Suna East, Migori County is set for a major boost following the issuance of mobile laboratories courtesy of the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the School Equipment Production Unit. According to the production unit's representative, Gloria Nanjala, the initiative aims to enhance the learning of science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM-related subjects among junior secondary school learners. Nanjala, who spoke during the handover of the laboratory to Jengo Primary School, said the program will extend to 300 more schools. The STEM subjects are bolster innovation and creativity.
We are trying to come up with a solution to schools that are not able to build an inbuilt laboratory. So our mobile laboratory has 4 caster wheels that is able to work for ease of mobility, whereby experiments can be done not only in the classroom or anywhere designated by the institution.
Schools are able to get facilities that enable them to undertake STEM while they are in their JSS programs. And therefore, that is the kind of coordination, that is the kind of arrangement, and that is the kind of support that we are trying to give to these little girls to enable them succeed in STEM.
The SEPU, or the kit that we have gotten here today, is going to help us equip and enrich our learners with the STEM related pathways and tracks.
Homa Bay Water and Sanitation Company has intervened to address a wastewater crisis in Shauriako and Sokomjinga in the county. According to the Managing Director Tom Nyonje, the problem is a result of residents dumping sewage and solid waste, including plastics and diapers, into the drains and sewer manholes. This has resulted in the clogging of the pipelines and the disruption of businesses in the region. Nyonje urged the public to stop polluting drainage systems and called on NEMA and the public health officers to enhance environmental regulations.
So we want to urge the public, let us observe cleanliness, let us observe and ensure that the environment upon which we operate is maintained in a clean and a safer way, by way of avoiding to clog this drainage with plastic waste and all other waste.
Chief Justice Martha Koome has launched the alternative justice system at Garissa Law Courts. The model will allow residents to resolve disputes through elders and religious leaders, with 42 elders already trained. Koome noted that 56% of local disputes are traditionally resolved, making AJS vital in addressing land conflicts, family disputes and petty offences. Garissa Governor Nathif Jama called for the expansion of the AJS to border communities and urged the creation of a court of appeal in the north to bring justice closer to the people.
It prioritizes reconciliation. NJS preserves relationships and promotes peace. Unlike our adversarial court process, NJS asks our people to be heard in their own voices, in their own language, in their own environment.
As a county, we will try, within our limited resources, to see whether we can expand it further. But this time we may need the cooperation of, financial cooperation of the judiciary.
28 minutes past the hour. Let's take our first commercial break on KBC's Lunchtime News, Business and Sports. Up next. Don't go.
Hana karo ya shule.
Maskini ni kitu mbaya sana.
Waishia tu kampo, ukule mbuku kabisa.
Graduate. Utabaki papa hapa.
Kama kuna kitu yao mlichukua, simrudishe tu tafadhali.
Haiwezekani.
Nini mnapigania?
Shamba.
Unafanya nini hapa? Hii ni shamba ya babangu. Shida yako iko wapi?
Alinivamia akiwa na vijana wengine wawili.
Ni kweli ama si kweli?
Wageni wakaribishwa.
So you want to know whether I love him or not?
Unajua hayawezekani. Taka uhusiano wetu waendelee na mbele na mbele. Nilidhani kuwa uliasi pendo langu kwako, lakini naahidi kutokusumbua tena.
Kuna mambo nataka kukuambia.
Kama sio kwamba unanipenda, basi sitaki kusikia.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, the Ministry of Education in partnership with the Educans Kenya has pledged to incorporate the greening program in the school curriculum, training young Kenyans at all levels of education on the importance of maintaining a clean and sustainable environment by avoiding wastage of water and the atmosphere at large. Addressing the media after a week-long master trainers workshop in Mombasa County by Educans Kenya on how to deliver the Green Skills curriculum, the Principal Secretary for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, Esther Moria, said they are currently training youth in the textile industry, which is the third largest pollutant of environment, on how to avoid waste in this sector.
We want to work with people such as Educans to be able to educate the Kenyan population on what it means to have a sustainable environment, a green environment. And therefore we are going to come up with curricula that is going to train our young people, whether in textiles, which is mainly what we have been doing this time, and we are going to go into every sector of our training.
And so what we are doing right now is to equip the master trainers like we have done today, the 30 of them, and then we'll be equipping 200 TOTs that are able to reach out to trainers who will be able to help us reach to 2,300 young people. That's basically about our approach in ensuring that there is greening of the curriculum.
Residents of Kitengela in Kajiado County are protesting the poor state of the Kitengela-Ongata-Rongai Road, a 23-kilometer bypass linking the two satellite towns. The residents are calling on relevant government agencies to urgently rehabilitate the road and stop institutions from releasing raw sewage onto it. The Maram Road is riddled with huge potholes, choking dust and raw sewage from nearby institutions, making it impossible to pass. Now, truck drivers who ferry the pozlana and other raw materials to cement factory in Athi River say they are incurring heavy repair costs and reduced daily trips. At least 2,000 lorries use the road daily, underscoring its importance to the economy.
So hiyo ndio kazi watu tunafanya. Sasa hii barabara inakuwa lazima uende polepole. Kwa distance unaweza tembea kitu kama dakika 10 unaenda wanawa.
Idara ya afya, wale wakuu wa idara ya afya, mimi naweza sema hao wamelala kazini kabisa, na ingewezekana waende juu. Ikifika ni wakati wa housing, huwa tunaona wa county waikuja kuinspect manyumba venye zinajengwa, hapo wako very active sana. Lakini ikifika mahali kama pale, hata NEMA, sitasahau kusema hata NEMA, hata wao pia wamelala kazini. Hiyo siweji kila wakati ikiachiliwa hapo, hakuna mwenye anashughulika.
Access to healthcare for residents of Soma in Mwingi Central Kitui County has improved following the operationalization of a dispensary in the area. This comes after the construction of the dispensary, which had stalled for more than 12 years, was completed and healthcare workers were deployed to man the facility. Locals who hailed the operationalization of the health facility said for years they were forced to walk for more than 27 kilometers to Ukasi Market to access healthcare services, a situation they say was often worsened in cases of snake bites, emergencies, childbirth and access to immunization services.
Sasa nimeshukuru sana kuona hii hospitali hapa area Sosoma, sababu hapa hata ile nyoka ikituma hapa kuenda mahali iko ndawa ya nyoka, tuko karibu, wengi wanagubia njiani.
Sisi tumesema ni asante sana kwa gavana wetu na kaunti kwa jumla kwa kutuletea hii hospitali, kwa sababu imeanza kitambo sana, miaka imepita, lakini leo tunashukuru kuona tumepata daktari pamoja na mandawa.
And today we have launched 2 dispensaries, one in Masawi and the other one is here in Sosoma. The other dispensaries will be launched in the course of time, in the shortest time possible. So today we brought drugs, equipment, and we have brought staff.
Tunatembea na miguu, hatuna magari,
Kupika huko pia hata kwa bibi ako na mimba karibu anaweza kuzalia tu kwa njia.
A section of stakeholders in the fishing sector in Kwale County are opposing a public participation exercise by the National Assembly Blue Economic Committee seeking to address challenges affecting the fishing sector. Speaking in a Tiwi Matuga constituency, the stakeholders are raising concerns over the process of collecting views, arguing that some invited to present their views were not representatives of those in the fishing sector within the county. They now want the committee to involve the fishermen who they argue understand the challenges affecting this sector.
Na mbona hasiwe prepared, wakaambiwa wote wanachama wakaelezewa wajafanya nini hapa, lakini hii kitu imekuwa kama individual picked. Sio hapa ndio kuja village elders hatuwakatai, lakini hawana information ya mambo na bahari.
Wamepunguza nguvu za sekta ya uvuvi katika masuala ya ugatuzi. Wameshusha hadhi ya serikali ya ugatuzi hususan katika sekta ya uvuvi.
Peji 200 leo kwa siku moja tuweza isoma yote tukaimaliza kweli? Imeandikwa Kizungu, wengine hawakusoma wavuvi.
Mstahiki Gavana Fatuma Achani ameamrisha kwamba idara ya lands ianze zoezi ya kutathmini ile status ya hizo landing sites zote.
Tutashirikiana na county government ya Kwale, na pia tunataka tuombe waziri wetu wa ardhi, waziri Alice Wahome aweze kufika hapa. Hawa watu wa Kwale wanahangaika sababu kuna watu wamechukua ardhi ambayo inafaa kuwa landing sites ya hao wavuvi.
Here's the latest in the world of business. Concerns are mounting over the proposed Seed Bill 2025, with regulators warning that the law could weaken safeguards in the seed sector if passed in its current form. Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service Managing Director Professor Theophilus Mutui says that the bill sponsored by Senator Ledamo Lekina risks lowering certification standards, confusing farmers and creating loopholes that may flood the market with counterfeit seed.
Kenya's seed laws have long been the backbone of food security, providing strict certification standards to protect farmers from counterfeit and poor quality seeds. Critics say the framework leaves smallholder farmers dependent on costly certified seeds, often out of reach for many.
Any person found selling fake seed is going to be arrested and taken to court and prosecuted according to Seed and Plant Varieties Act.
With concerns now mounting over the proposed Seed Bill 2025, agriculture experts say the law could roll back existing safeguards. Following this, KEFI's board chair Joseph Eraki has cautioned farmers against buying counterfeit seeds ahead of the short rains, reducing farmers' susceptibility to making losses.
The farmers are planting the fake seeds, like this area. If you have someone in Mengo and just getting grains, you get the maize or other crops for the other areas, then you bring them here, and then farmers, when they plant, they don't perform. You have wasted the time.
Additionally, the regulator says plans are underway to expand Kenya's export footprint, especially in the agricultural and agro-processing sectors. Nduta Mokami for Lunchtime News.
Now, Google will not sell its Chrome web browser but must share information with competitors, a U.S. federal judge has ordered. The remedies decided by the district judge have emerged after a year-long court battle over Google's dominance in online search. More details of this story is in our International Business Roundup.
The case centered on Google's position as the default search engine on a range of its own products, such as Android and Chrome, as well as others made by the likes of Apple. The U.S. Department of Justice had demanded that Google sell Chrome. Tuesday's decision means that the tech giant can keep it, but it will be barred from having exclusive contracts and must share such data with rivals. Elsewhere, a cyber attack has disrupted Jaguar Land Rover vehicle production, including at its two main UK plants. The company, which is owned by India's Tata Motors, said it took immediate action to lessen the impact of the hack and is working quickly to restart operations. Jaguar Land Rover's retail business has also been badly hit at a traditionally popular time for consumers to take delivery of a new vehicle. But there is no evidence that any customer data had been stolen, the company said. Finally, the trade volume between the China Central and Eastern European countries CEEC Economic and Trade Cooperation Demonstration Zone and CEEC partners has exceeded 36 billion yuan, which is about $5 billion by mid-August this year, up 12% year-on-year. Since its official launch in 2018, the demonstration zone cumulative imports and exports have surpassed 300 billion yuan, which is about $41 billion, with an average annual growth rate of 17.2%.
Elsewhere, in January and February 2025, Egypt exported much gold as in the first 9 months of 2024. Exports reached $3.2 billion in the first quarter, the United Arab Emirates accounting for $1.85 billion of that in January and February alone, a staggering 2.746% jump from the $65 million in the same period a year earlier. Exports to Switzerland in the first quarter rose by nearly 50%.
September 2024, gold giant Anglo Gold Ashanti acquired Centamin, operator of Egypt's Sukari mine, one of the country's key gold assets, in a $2.5 billion stock and cash deal. Canadian firm Aton Resource and the Egyptian Mineral Resources Authority have established the Abu Marawat Gold Mines joint venture company to exploit discoveries in the Eastern Desert. In early 2024, the government indicated that the Abu Marawat discovery could contain a strategic reserve of up to 290,000 tons of gold. In April 2025, the World Mining Union, a subsidiary of the Saudi Gold Refinery Group, announced plans to seek a license to explore for gold and other minerals in the Eastern Desert. Elsewhere, South Africa fashion retailer Woolworths reported a 23.9% decline in full-year headline earnings due to a weaker-than-expected performance from its Australian clothing chain Country Road Group. Group adjusted earnings before interest, tax and amortization declined by 3.8% to 8.7 billion rand, but beat average analyst estimates that 7.6 billion rand, according to LSEG data. Finally, at the China-Ethiopia Addis Ababa Agricultural Technology Training Center, local farmers say that they have gained extensive knowledge from Chinese experts who possess outstanding expertise in agriculture, particularly in grafting techniques. According to China's Agriculture Ministry, China has established over 20 agricultural technology demonstrations centers across the African continent, cumulatively promoting more than 300 advanced agricultural techniques and benefiting over 1 million small farming households.
Kenya has been challenged to enhance the preparation of bankable projects if it's to fully benefit from the billions of dollars available for Africa's infrastructure transformation. That was the call to action at the PMI Global Summit Series Africa in Kigali, where African Development Bank AFDB leaders and nearly 1,000 delegates stressed that poorly prepared projects rather than lack of financing remain the single biggest obstacle to Africa's growth.
The African Development Bank estimates that the continent will need $170 billion annually in infrastructure financing by 2025. For low and middle-income countries, multilateral development banks and government-backed lenders have committed to set aside approximately $100 billion to $120 billion annually to develop projects.
Africa is the place to be. Smart investors should pay attention to Africa. African countries represent 13 out of the 20 fastest growing economies in the world.
Despite this, the financing gap remains substantial, leaving many critical projects underfunded. Kenya has been urged to unlock bankable projects to close Africa's $70 billion infrastructure gap. Delivering his keynote at the PMI Global Summit Series Africa in Kigali, outgoing president of the AFDB, Dr. Akiwemu Adesina, noted that poorly prepared projects remain the single biggest obstacle to Africa's growth, noting that without sound financial structures and risk-proof execution, many projects risk stalling or losing investors' confidence.
Real-time monitoring tools helps us to respond faster, allocate resources more effectively, and make evidence-based decisions.
Adesina has emphasized that projects must not only exist on paper, but must tangibly improve lives, adding that projects designed for 5 years often stretch to 8 or more. Even as road construction resumes in major parts of the country, delay in key roads, housing and energy projects have real consequences for competitiveness and job creation. Wairi Mujenga for Lunchtime News.
Kenya's seed laws have
Harambee Stars head coach Benny McCarthy is fully focused on making sure Kenya performs well in the upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers starting this Friday against Gambia, even as he relishes the accolades bestowed upon him after making history with Harambee Stars during the Chan Pamoja 2024. McCarthy, who led Kenya's Harambee Stars to their first ever quarter-final place at the African Nations Championship in their debut, was named the S-Jack and Betty Coach of the Month for his outstanding achievement with the team. Harambee Stars overcame two-time champions Morocco by a solitary goal for the first time in history, also claiming wins over Zambia and two-times champion Democratic Republic of Congo before settling for a draw with Angola. They proceeded to the quarterfinals where they were eliminated by the eventual runners-up Madagascar 4-3 on penalties after a draw.
That it's always an honor, a great honor to be nominated by the public for the individual work that you do in a team sport. So I'm very honored and very privileged to receive this award. It's been a lot of hard work, but I can't take all the credit for the work. I know I'm sitting here by myself, but I have an incredible team alongside me.
The national team has united Kenyans, and I think we're on a good course, and the coach is doing a good job to make sure that the team is performing.
The Stars really brought a lot of joy to the nation in the month of August. I think from the very first game versus DRC, I think we just saw the optimism that came with that win, and everyone just got into it.
Fit, and I also want to thank the panel for nominating McCarthy. I know it was not a very easy job. We had East Africa school games where we did so well.
Unless you forget, those qualifiers will be shown live on KBC Channel 1, aside from the Chan 2024 ahead of AFCON 27. Now, Grande Stade de Marrakesh is a major sports facility in the Red City of Marrakesh in Morocco and is a key for the upcoming 35th African Cup of Nations. The 2025 AFCON edition, which will feature 24 teams, will be staged in 9 venues across 6 cities in Rabat, Tangier, Casablanca, Agadir, Marrakesh and Fes between the 21st of December 2025 and the 18th of January 2026.
Welcome to Grand Stade de Marrakesh in the tourist city of Marrakesh in the Royal Kingdom of Morocco, one of the 9 venues which will stage the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations starting the 21st of December this year.
Among the renovations undertaken in the first phase in readiness for the African Cup of Nations include installation of 700 technical cameras for security, new wall and modification of the seats, which has been reduced to 41,245. Other conspicuous changes for the stadium include changing all lining to reduce electricity consumption by 60%. Marrakesh Stadium has been assigned 8 AFCON matches, key among them being Group F cracker, pitting 5-time champions Cameroon against the defending champions Ivory Coast on the 28th of December this year. Other matches to be staged in the stadium include Ivory Coast versus Mozambique, South Africa against Angola, Angola versus Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe against South Africa, 1 round of 16 match and 1 quarter-final. The venue will thereafter be renovated by lowering its center to increase its capacity to 46,000 and construction of 3 new annexes outside to match the 2030 FIFA World Cup standards. The 2025 edition of the African Cup of Nations and will be staged in 9 venues spread across 6 cities of Rabat, Tangier, Casablanca, Agadir, Marrakesh and Fez between 21st December 2025 and 18th January 2026.
Reporting for KBC Channel 1 from the Royal Kingdom of Morocco in Marrakesh City, Grand Stade de Marrakesh.
Also, Novak Djokovic beat American and 4th seeded Taylor Fritz in the quarterfinals of the US Open in Flushing Meadows to set up an intense semi-final matchup against Carlos Alcaraz. Djokovic overcame intense pressure and a hostile atmosphere at the Flushing Meadows to claim a 6-3, 7-5, 3-6 and 6-4 win over Fritz. The Serbian will have to overcome Alcaraz in the semis after the 2nd seed defeated a jury. Bulletin this afternoon. Do join us in our subsequent bulletins at 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. My name is Abdiaziz. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Susan Thuku. Good afternoon for now.